Hello, everyone, and welcome back to X-tricated. I am KB, and with me here is DDB as usual. I would like to finally welcome you back to. I
Finally,
would like to finally welcome.
finally, people,
I don't know
finally,
why
people, we're back.
I,
Finally, people, we're
I
back.
cannot skip. I cannot hide my excitement right now. We would like to finally welcome you to season 2 of Extricated.
People of God,
um,
Kabiru, KB missed his lines. People of God, hey, he has forgotten how to introduce extricated. Can you imagine? Ah,
Please,
yeah, yeah. Just imagine. Hmm.
David, keep this banter to yourself,
No,
please.
I'm not going to keep this banter to myself. Oh. The guy forgot. Like the guy literally forgot how to introduce. I had to remind him that this is how you introduce. Hey. Hmm. Anyway, let's
Lies
continue.
everywhere. This is propaganda.
It's
Remember
not.
when we talked about the media? This guy he doesn't even have full control over this media that we have, and then he's trying to use it, twist it against me. Can you imagine that? It's all right, Sha.
Wait. No, 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 no. You guys see. You guys are witness to this thing, right? Just go and check the previous episodes. How is his introduction now to previous episodes? Let's see. Maybe it's better. Maybe Bosha is not the same. That's what I know. It's not the same. He has forgotten some things.
Okay,
He he
keep.
he
I
needs
don't
to
even know what
he
to.
needs to go for therapy, and maybe we'll use this as his first therapy session. Maybe.
Oh no! This is not going to be my therapy session. It's probably yours.
Me.
Anyway, let's get into today's episode. As you know, we've been away for a while. Just okay, why am I saying just? Well, it's been about 5 months.
5 months.
We've
I mean
been away
6 months.
for, and
6 months. 6 months. April was the last
five,
episode,
6 months.
right? So
Yeah,
May, June, July, August, September, October. 6 months, almost seven
yeah.
months.
We disappeared. We disappeared when we were needed the most.
Yes.
Kind of having.
But we actually like the fact that we did that. I like the fact that we did that anyway, but
Yeah. So by virtue of that, we are going to start this episode or start this season rather, by catching up with stuff that has happened over those few months that we've been away. And as you know, we changed presidencies.
KB is
We
annoyed.
had,
You
we
people, KB is just using this his smile and excitement for I don't know what. He's mad. There's a lot of things that this guy wants to lift off his chest. KB, just open mouth and
no,
talk.
no,
Open
actually,
mouth, talk, guy. Open mouth. Open
I
mouth,
have
talk.
talked to my therapist. I've talked to my therapist already, and I actually am fine now. I'm just going to I'm just going to discuss normally, right?
Really?
Yeah. Don't
Really?
worry. My laughter is not a crazy person's laughter right now.
You have forgotten that somebody is going to get yacht to protect themselves, Abby.
Hey, rest.
Yacht is meant for
Speaking of
protection. You understand? I just even
speaking 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 of that,
I even went and watched a documentary about where the rich people are going to run away to when there is World War III. And guess what? Number one on the list was private yacht. You see, protection.
I know what you're trying to do. I know who you are. I am familiar with your game, and I'm not going to do it. So speaking of that, obviously you know who we are talking about. Let's talk about Tinubu. Um, Okay, so as we all know, on May 29th, he was sworn in as the new president. He made a lot of promises.
A lot.
Talked about tackling security, the challenges, reviving the economy, fighting corruption, bringing the country back together, and all that. But then, Tinubu has been the most controversial person to win an election in Nigeria. That's saying a lot, especially when you consider the person who's his predecessor. And there are a lot of things about the Tinubu presidency, especially the candidacy. We know that this was a lifelong ambition of Tinubu to become president of Nigeria. And just kind of like Donald Trump, I do remember this interview that Donald Trump had one time where he was asked about the presidency and whether he's interested in running. He answered like he did not know when he's going to run, but when he does, he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially similar to what Tinubu did.
Well,
He wasn't
word,
quite sure when
word.
exactly he was going to do it, but then when the time came, everything fell in place for him, and
They said
he
he said
he put everything in
Emilio
place.
come,
Rather, he didn't fall in place for him.
Emilio
Yeah,
come.
it was his turn, and your Yoruba is as precious. So yeah, what do you think about the Tinubu presidency?
Well, he entered with a bang, right? Here am I starting my internship in Abuja, and transportation to and fro was 600 naira, highest 700 naira. And then this man will just be sworn in, and then he will just make a noise. He just announce that they are taking off the fuel subsidy. Okay, we know that it was going to go off. Why can't you just keep quiet and do your thing? The guy will just come and announce, and then he will ruin my budget and other people's budget. And from there, it was downhill. Honestly, it's annoying.
Yeah,
Haba,
yeah,
haba.
this is just
No
my
fair
therapy
now.
session. This is my therapy
No, no,
session.
no, no, no. Haba, come on. Like, transportation is now to and fro, like 1,400 naira now. And and that's not just it, too. There are other people that are even suffering, self. But let's keep it at that. So,
Indeed, indeed.
after that, other things like I kind of understood how he was taking things with the iron fist, Abby, yeah, iron fist, right? And he was taking matters into his own hands, putting reforms quickly before he announced his nominees for the ministries, and they even extended the number of ministries that we have in this country. And I was having a
That's
discussion with a
very
friend.
true.
Eh?
I said that's very true.
Yeah.
It's the largest federal economic council, or federal executive council rather.
For what?
Since
Some
handed
of them do not
since
do.
we handed over from military.
Some of them, bar, I do not really. We really need to have a press conference to clarify exactly what these ministries do. Let's see their financial books. Let's see what the impact they've made in the country. Let's know. Honestly, they need to be held accountable. Honestly, they really need to be held accountable. And I think we need to take this matter on our hands to to push, hold them accountable, because it doesn't make sense now. You just increase something, and then, well, let's see what happens. And then after that, the CBN Wahala, Emefiele, am I saying his name correct? KB.
Um, you. First of all, before we even get into that, you did make a very interesting point that I want to fixate on.
Okay.
Had to do with the ministers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially when you consider the predecessor Buhari.
Mm-hmm.
Buhari actually cut down portfolios in
Exactly.
the ministry.
Yes.
He did that. But Nigeria's ministerial portfolio is always going to be large because it's designed in such a way that you must have a minister from every single state in Nigeria, right?
Okay.
So aside from that, Tinubu also like added 12 more people
Mm-hmm.
to his ministerial list,
Okay.
right? And like we've already established, that is like a very ballooned number, the
Yes.
largest in the history of our in the history since 1999,
Yes.
since after the handover and stuff.
Yes.
So, but then there are some things that we have to consider. First of all, Tinubu is somebody that has been widely commended for having an eye for talent,
Yes.
right?
Actually,
But also,
also right. I'm also one of those people that kind of credit him for that. He does that really
yeah,
well. Like, he has a
yes.
system and process for doing that as well.
Very, very good. I'm going to ask you a question now.
Okay.
Um, Also, Tinubu is known for being quite good at playing politics.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that,
You won't get to where he is without being very good at that now.
I guess,
Uh-huh.
but do you think that his cabinet was formed based on his eye for talent or his need to play politics?
I think it was a mix of both.
Okay. How so?
I think it was a mix of both. I don't want to call names, right? But some of the names, especially the inner council, you understand? The inner council that had to do with chief of staff and the rest, you understand?
Mm.
It might or might not be that they are his people, the people that he has known for a long period of time, which it's also a normal thing to do, especially if they've shown that they can actually do work. That's why I'm saying it's a mix of both, because he identified them as talent to work with before, right? And then he brought them to work with him, right? And then
Mm.
apart from that, he played politics in a way that when he got in, he didn't really say, okay, fine, it's all about APCC. You get, to some extent, you understand? He had to just, okay, pick and put. You understand? I like the portfolio of the people that he picked, except for certain governors, and I'm not going to mention.
Yeah. Majority of the governors that he gave, it makes it quite obvious that you
Yes,
know a lot
yes,
of politics was played, and
yes.
you kind of start to think that okay, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let us play with a little bbit of numbers here.
Okay.
How did Tinubu win the election? Tinubu, what was the percentage of his votes? I think it was 37%.
Mm-hmm.
37% of the votes of what Tinubu used to win the election.
Yes.
That has been the lowest winning margin
In Nigerian history, bro.
since, since Shagari in 1979.
Exactly.
So winning by such a low margin, and then being a person that is whoever that was going to win that election was going to inherit a dwindling economy,
Mm-hmm.
unprecedented levels of inflation,
Mm-hmm.
high unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
a brain drain crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and debt of over $103 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So already you're not going to be a popular candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you went into the election as a popular candidate, which he
Yes.
was not,
Yes.
you understand? Based on how he won that election, 37% of the votes, you know that many of the Nigerians do not want him to be there.
Yes.
You understand? So it begs the question: will I be able to hold on to power if the time comes, if 4 years passes? Will
Mm-hmm.
I be able to hold on to power? So this is why I think he decided to mix it up a little bit. I know that yes, no matter he has the power, he has the talent. Basically, let me give him that.
Okay.
I'll give him that
Mm-hmm.
to select very beautiful minded individuals to put into his cabinet.
Yes.
But then again, I think he has to put his interests forward and figure out how he will hold on to that power in future, which is even at the beginning, we saw a lot of the appointments like concentrating in the southwest, then it started spreading and
Yes.
settling down,
Yes.
going
Yes.
around, started rewarding more of the northwestern people,
Yes.
then before like settling on like north central. I think the region that didn't like really get that might feel a bit marginalized in Tinubu's government,
Yes.
southeast region, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you look at it, Tinubu didn't even really campaign in the southeast.
He
He
didn't.
didn't even like really trust his APC guys to deliver for him, except Dave Umahi, I think.
Yes.
Right? He's the only one that I think was rewarded with a ministerial position.
Yes.
So these are the people that okay, he just feels like he wants to reward and that type of thing. And he doesn't want to like even concentrate his energy there because he knows that it is a lost cause. These are people that number one, they even already like consider him the fact that Buhari even came in. They have the mindset that Tinubu was very instrumental into bringing
Buhari
him
in.
into power.
Yes.
He was the reason why Jonathan was not re-elected
Yes.
in 2015.
Yes.
Right. So they already were bearing that mindset. They already had that hatred for him.
Mm-hmm.
Then coming into the fact that there was a lot of tribal politics that was now being played during the election. The Igbo will do this, the Yoruba will do this, the Hausa people will do this, and all those type of things. So like everybody was just really going at each other during that election period, and it was very very ugly. That is so imagine imagine from that kind of chaos as a president to lead a divided country, essentially. He knows that. In fact, of recent, I even saw some here in the north, people are even
Mm.
swearing that Tinubu is not going to come back next time.
But the
that they are
thing
going
is,
to make sure he doesn't come
but
next
but
time.
but the thing is,
So there's
right?
not this thing.
He's playing his politics right really well.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Whatever appointment he's made, right, is going to help him control the country. Let's even come back to what we call politics, right? Politics is it's main. It's based on, to win politics, you've got to play around with chessboard with on a chessboard, and then make sure that you play to the interest of people that you want to support you. That is simple as that. Everybody has a personal interest, whether you like it or not. There's no hardly will you see someone saying, okay, fine, they want to do good, and that's why they're into politics, or that's where they are, where they go, right? People that want to do good will not win in politics. They have to play the game. You understand? Playing the game means that, for example, someone in Borno State is only true to himself and the people around him, right? To the people around him, he might lie to them, right? He might convince them, you understand, to follow a cause and that which is his own, you understand? And that is his personal interest. Politics is all about self-interest. You want him to support you, right? For him to support you, for him or her to support you, you need to play to the cause that he wants to follow. So that's his self-interest. You understand? And you've got to figure out that person's self-interest across all the boards. And if you figure out all those interests, right? If you figure out all those interests, everybody will be offered who to side with, right? So it's up to them to now, okay, fine, say this person is offering me this person is offering me this. Who do I stand the best chance of getting my own personal interest in the long term? You get? So they will choose.
A very good example of that is somebody like Dave Umahi. Dave Umahi even won his senatorial bid to be Senate president.
You see?
But then that he felt like he deserves that because of the support that he gave Tinubu and all that. But then Tinubu wanted to go with Akpabio, obviously. And David Umahi just had to drop his Senate presidential bid and then and then negotiate how will I even put it, what he can get instead, and then Minister of Works, because he even has that background as I think he's an engineer, right? Or something related. So he had that background and he was given the Minister of Works position. So at least everybody is happy. So he did the right thing and Tinubu also did the right thing by him too. So the relationships are still strong right there and stuff. So they are playing the politics and stuff. It just comes down to what we've been saying before. He needs all the support that he can because I think he knows very well that he cannot hold the country if he doesn't have like the right people around him.
Yes, especially the way he won, right, with the controversy around him.
Yes.
You understand?
So much controversy.
Exactly. And apart from
we haven't talked about his the case article brought up. The false certificates, then also the intimidation and all those stuff that happened during the election and everything.
Yes. Those are different cases that I actually really do not want to discuss. They are legal cases that we are not even supposed to discuss. You understand?
Yeah.
But then, right? If you look at it, I actually liked what he's been doing so far, economic wise, anyway. Right?
Really?
Right? So I disagree with the budget. That's number one, supplementary budget. You understand? But when it comes to the fuel subsidy, education subsidy, right? Ticked. We've already talked about this last season. Then when it comes to the whole what's it called, things that are happening with petrol, forget that. I'm not happy about it, but I know that playing the long term game, right? I don't know what's going on. That one is another different episode on its own where we're going to talk about the refinery. Because a lot of things, there's developments, there's a lot of setbacks, blah blah blah. We'll talk about that later, right? But apart from that, we also need to look at, okay, fine, the petroleum industry, the petrol is high, it's not easy for everybody, inflation is increasing, you understand? And then these are not factors that he can control immediately, not even 6 months later. He can't control those factors, you understand? So it needs, and remember that he had to also like kind of steady the ship at CBN. That's number one. Number two, there are certain things that he has ordered for to happen. For example, the CNG buses, CNG gases, so that it can make things easier for Nigerians, you understand? And the supply chain has not been properly created or even established in the country, and it will take a while.
Sorry to cut you off there, but have you realized ever since the adoption of CNG and stuff, gas prices have gone up. Gas was like the only cheap thing in this country
Yes, but it
in
has
that
gone up.
regard to,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
But then it's blew out of the way. So, what are there other factors in this at play here?
No, the factors that I play are in play here are people now. That's simple. Yeah, there are people. People are influencing these things, right? And he can't, at the moment, he can't control these people, especially the market itself. You understand? The market cannot be controlled at the moment. It's really volatile in the country. Despite the fact that he has good ideas, the country is volatile at the moment. There's inflation. Everybody wants to get the better of everybody in every industry. Now that's where he's found himself in. And it's more like the crypto industry where everybody wants to just take the meat out of everything. So it's just the season of time. It's the season to enjoy the money and the inflation before it goes down. Now he has a big mountain to climb in bringing down that inflation numbers, the inflation rate, the marketers, importation, exportation, like power purchasing parity now, for example, right? He really needs to like increase that ranking. But to me, I think what the reforms, the policies are okay, but he really needs to do his game well, the game of
Okay.
politics that we say that
Do,
he's
do you think,
intelligent.
do you think that Nigerians will benefit from some kind of socialist policies like right now? Don't you think the
Mm,
better off if
hmm.
we were to have socialist policies?
We are back to that argument that me and you had since when socialism, capitalism. See, no,
Really, why?
I won't be able to defend myself right now, but
You really cannot.
okay,
You
let me
cannot.
let me say something. Let me say something right now. You're saying socialist economy, right? If you're saying
Mhm.
socialist economy,
No, not a socialist economy. I'm not
okay,
saying that.
okay,
You know that
so
that's not going to
okay,
happen.
so what are you
But
saying?
just like introduce some socialist policies. You
Okay,
understand? To
some
help.
socialist policies like what?
Yeah. Okay. I want to give an example, but I can't really remember who this person was, like which state it was. I'm thinking one of the states in the Northeast. I can't remember which one. He's a lawmaker, obviously, and so what happened was that he kind of subsidized petrol on his own for the citizens of his constituency, like making the like reducing the price of petroleum by some percentage so that at least the effect of the petroleum price hike will be cushioned for them. Even though, yeah, it's still back to fuel subsidy. It's essentially fuel subsidy to be honest. But
Mm-hmm.
then at least it's going to be centralized. You understand? It's not centralized at the position of the federal government. You're not putting it in the budget and whatnot. But then this is somebody that is in power, basically a legislator that is doing this for his people. Do you think that having stuff like that, for example, now having, let's say, senators and House of Rep members at different regions doing this type of things will help cushion the effects that we've been seeing?
Well, I agree. Okay, if at the end of the day you're saying that we should decentralize the how the government the federal government have control over certain things, is that what you're saying? If that is it, because that's what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
Based
Yes.
on what you're just saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if that's the case, yes,
Essentially, go and be the lord of your king of your land, basically.
exactly. I believe it can work, right? But infrastructures need to be there. I think that what you just mentioned right now. I think Buhari tried to pass that bill last year, if I'm not mistaken, and
Okay.
it's still in here itself. They've not yet agreed to it because a lot of states are going to suffer. A lot of states are going to suffer from that, right? But then, I think that's the best thing to do if we want to get the best out of ourselves. But there's one thing: if you are going to make that reform, that policy, you need to make every state not just like to work based on their states, right? Go and head your land, right? Be the lord of your land. No, you get back. That state has to be a capitalist state. Each state has to be a capitalist state. If not, you're not going to get the best out of that state. That's my opinion, anyway. because
Yeah,
if
of
you
course, he must always bring it back to capitalism, but it's
exactly
fine.
you get back. So that is basically it. See, but you can prove me wrong. So see, let's go bigger than that. Let's even go to the supplementary budget. Now let's go back to the supplementary budget.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
What do you think of the supplementary budget? Your honest
Okay.
opinion.
I think that's well. I cannot move past the fact that there was a budget. There was 5.5 billion or 5 billion budgeted for for a yacht.
People, are you see? So I was not lying. Anyway, he himself is
Anyway,
saying it. By himself, he has opened up.
so I think five. I can't remember which of it was 5.5 billion, which was 5 billion. We had one for education and one for the yachts, basically. And
For the yacht was 17 point something billion, if I'm not mistaken.
what?
17 point something billion for the yacht.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So
Five
what?
for the education that is 5 point something billion.
I thought they were like up on the same, like around the same
They
range. I
are
can't.
not though. They are not.
Oh,
Not even close.
I've been having this notion. I'm like, why on earth? Because I feel like the 5 billion was not even enough for the for education
It's not now.
for education
See,
subsidy for the loan.
you remember when we talked about this education subsidy when I told you that it's going to be a big problem for people to actually access it? Because how many
Yeah.
people are under 500,000 naira per annum?
Yes.
Really, think about it. How many people? Would they even know those people that we're talking about that are under 500,000 naira
They
per
won't have
annum,
the
right?
access.
Would they even be able to have access to the information that we're talking about? That's number one,
Yeah.
right? Number two, do like do they even want to go into the educational sector? Like, yes, people want to improve, want to civilize and all that, but will you get this information to the grassroots? No. Only the people that are in
Exactly.
school, only the people that are in school will know. And the people that are in school already, trust me, they already can afford 20,000 naira to pay school fees, which means, and guess what? Households in the country, you understand, have more than one child, two children, you understand, they can afford more than 500,000 naira in a year. So
Mm.
who is going to have access to this 5 billion? Let's be
So
honest about it.
you know that this thing is a big problem because majority of the people in school, right, are of the middle class. They're from the middle class,
Yes.
and based on everything that has happened, the inflation, which we will even still get to, we've not really talked about it. Based on all that, the middle class is slowly getting erased.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, you may have more than one child in your household, and all of them might be in university, and then let's say you were paying 50,000 per child. So that let's say you have four children in university, and your budget as a house will be hit, regardless of how much you're earning a million a month. Paying 800,000 for school fees for four children is not going to be easy.
At
You're
all.
going to have to make some cutbacks here and there. And then we will be able to do it, right? You'll be able to do it. But you're not going to be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Then two, you have households that are even earning less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Than I'm even talking about a month, or I'm not even talking about a year. These people are going to find it much harder. Just keep on decreasing till you get to the people around like 350,000 and stuff. So are you going to these people now do not deserve to get like some form of educational subsidies if they can get access to it, that at least they don't have to have a hard life because they're trying to put children through school. And but you are saying in your own law, you are saying that you have to have 100,000, you have to be like under 500,000 annually before you can be eligible. Your household have to be under 500,000
Exactly.
in a year
That's really
for you
unfair. That is really unfair.
to access student credit.
Few people will have access to that because if you look at it, I think almost everybody has a bank account, right? And trust me, almost everybody would have more than 500,000 naira accumulation in a year. Not almost everybody, but then most
Mm.
people that want to take their children to school would have that. You get? So
Yes.
who is going to get access to that? People that
Even the students themselves can have 500,000 a year or more
so
in their accounts.
now that
But then,
that that alone is going to be an economy on its own, because a lot of people will start defrauding the government, right? And they'll start entering legal wahala for themselves, because a lot of people will start framing certain
mm,
things, forging certain documents, and making sure that see, a lot of things can happen, a lot of things will happen. You understand? And it creates a different avenue for corruption again, right? That's a different case entirely.
mm.
See, that education
You,
to me is just to appease people. That's all.
mhm.
Nothing else.
I think we need to bring somebody on this show to talk about this student loans.
Yes, we need to.
Probably somebody with strong ties to ASU.
So
Okay, what next do we even need to talk about?
there's this thing about these OAU students now. That one too is interesting.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, you just want to see me break down on this show. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so this is something that we've gotten used to seeing now, which is very bad that we get used to seeing stuff like this. First, sometimes it can be police, it can be soldiers, it can be other forms of paramilitary organizations in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and it's continuous oppression of people, especially youths. They profile people and then act accordingly. So that it's
Mm-hmm.
no different from the kind of police brutality that people of
Size.
color
Oh, okay,
um,
yeah,
go
yeah, that's
through
true.
in places like America,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And here we are, like a nation that is trying to be advanced, and you have the EFCC raiding a student apartment, going away with, I think the report says 69 students from from two different hostels, I think. And then I think they also even went on campus too. I'm not, I think I had a report about that. So all in all, they took about 69 students
Just imagine.
as suspected fraudsters, right?
Without
So
warrants.
first of all, there's no warrant. Secondly, how did you get to suspect them as fraudsters? If it was an anonymous tip-off, it could have been more specific to some groups of people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then even with that, even with an anonymous, the evidence has to be concrete for, your superior, basically, or guy in charge, for a warrant to, like, okay, even if it's to search, not even to arrest, if you can go and search, and you search and you find incriminating materials, you arrest,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If it were like that, going that way would still cause a lot of uproar. But then, if it were to be a case of an anonymous tip-off, right,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you need to have like a concrete evidence based on what, like, whoever tipped you off should tell you that, okay, this warrants you to, like, go into the house of these people and then carry out a search. If you show them a warrant, by law, if you do not, like, cooperate, right, you can be arrested because of that.
Yeah.
I think it's still problematic. That approach is still problematic, but then at least if you are honest with yourself, if everybody's honest with themselves, if you go through emails, for example, and then you do not see anything incriminating, you do not see incriminating bank statements and stuff like that, there is no need for you to hold them much longer. You can even apologize. I mean, but Nigerians are not even that cautious self to even
Mm-hmm.
apologize
Yeah,
after
that's
breaking
true.
somebody's door.
Yeah. Very, very
So,
true.
you know, those things can happen, but then none of those things happen. You went in like kidnappers. People even thought they were being kidnapped until they now realized it was EFCC. Like, I think it was even when the EFCC released statement that they even knew that, okay, or I think some people figured out that maybe they might have seen badges or tags or something like that, and they now realized EFCC operatives that were cutting away with these boys like they are criminals. I think I even saw a report on Twitter, although I was not able to confirm it.
Okay.
There was a guy, I can't remember his first name, his surname is Alao, and he just celebrated, is it coming third place or second place in some innovation related. It was a tech competition, I guess.
Okay.
So he just like was celebrating on his Twitter timeline and stuff like that. And somebody quoted that tweet, that celebratory tweet, some days back. That was the day after the
Thing happened.
the raid, and he
Yes.
said this is the person that EFCC came to carry.
Mm-mm.
Do you understand? So I wasn't able to confirm. I went to read the report that was released. I looked for his name, like among the numerous names that were there. I couldn't find it, so I couldn't confirm that okay, that was actually true. But then I didn't see any tweet from the guy to say, no, I was not carried by EFCC operatives. So
Yes.
it could be, it could not be. Also, this is an example. This is a country, we are in a country right now that we are making a lot of noise about digital economy.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, there's a program that is being run, 3MTT.
Yes.
They want to have 3 million technical talents.
Yes.
Right? So they're trying to train people in software in soft skills, basically, not soft skills rather, and basically
Technological
tech.
skills. Yeah.
You understand, all from UI UX to data analytics and all those things. And all these things require the use of, laptops, being online for some hours, because if you learn these things, most likely you're going to have to like do freelance for some of us. For some people are going to do freelance. Some people
Mm-hmm.
might get jobs with government, some people might get jobs with private sector and all those things. So most of the time you're going to have to work on your laptop. And if you are
Yes.
working in a hybrid environment or a work from home environment, basically, you're going to work at home using your laptops. So you cannot come and say that your evidence or your proof for arresting somebody is because they have a laptop and a phone and probably they have a car and
see.
because they are young,
See.
because they're in their 20s, right? It is backward thinking. We are shooting ourselves in the foot if we are doing that. If the government can spend all this money to train people like that, to train people down this path, and then you still have operatives under the government acting in this way.
What does that say about the government and what we want to do? And
Mhm.
this even comes at a time where Nigeria has been listed as an emerging market. Do you know what it
Yeah.
means? Do you know what it means for Nigeria to be listed as an emerging market globally? It means that it's ripe for investment. That is basically it.
Yes.
You get it's ripe for investment, and it's one of the three countries in Africa that has been listed there. Egypt is there, South Africa is there, Nigeria is there.
Mm.
You get, so that's a huge thing. And then to even have news like that in your country, see, I want to even
Mm.
stay away from this
You're going
topic.
to scare away
See,
investors.
exactly, exactly. Especially if you try to say, okay, fine, we're even fighting against people outside the country labeling Nigerians as scammers, and then you yourself, you're making it hard for people to believe you that you are creating a system that is going to be inviting for foreign direct investment to happen. You get, so that is where the whole is counterintuitive. That's basically it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
counterintuitive, right? Then
It,
we
does,
come
doesn't look like a government that knows what it's doing, to be honest. Like when you
exactly.
think about
It's
it
more like
like
they're
that.
confused. Do you want to do this or do
Mm-hmm.
you not want to do this? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? You need to put your house in order. It's as simple as that. You get, so that's
Mm-hmm.
how it is, right? Then we come back to CBN, right? And inflation rates, and whew, brother, it's not been easy. No. It's not been easy. See, it's not been easy. There's a lot of things that are happening, that you go to the market, the prices that I used to buy stuff, I basically restock every single month, right? So the prices that I got in August was not the price that I got in July, was not the price that I got in September, was not the price that I got in October and November as well. You understand? So what the hell is happening? Anyway, I understand the business area. I understand what's going on with businesses, right? Because they have to increase the prices of what they sell. Because remember, when they sell stuff right now, they brought in something at, just imagine you bring in something at 15 naira, right? And then Now the market is selling it. You have to buy it for how much now? For, let's say, for 17 naira, right? You have to increase your price from 15 naira to 17 naira, because if you don't do that, you will not be able to make the money to go and buy again. You understand? So it is not their fault. You get? So I kind of understand when it comes to people in the market increasing their prices. They have to increase their prices because of what's going on. You understand? So it's up to the government to now put up policies that can help businesses as well. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes,
You
exactly.
understand? That can help business
But
as well.
do you think this is actually inflation or stagflation?
Oh boy, Baba, that's another topic on its own.
Because
I think it's
we,
in between.
I think we've discussed this thing before. We've discussed this topic
Yes, we
before,
have.
and they said that for inflation to happen, the purchasing power of the citizens in the country has to have gone up
Mhm.
in general.
Mhm.
You know, you have civil servants earning more, you have people in the private sector earning more. So there's more money to go around. So trying to mop up that extra money in circulation
Mhm.
can be what will lead to inflation. So everybody basically, if everybody is earning higher and prices go up, do you think you would really feel inflation? You wouldn't really feel it. You just know is that this price has gone up. You go to the market to ask for the price of something. They tell you like when did this go up? But then if you spend it, you come back home, you actually get the value. Not everybody, you know that okay, the money that's going to come into your account is going to be even more. You understand more than what you were having like maybe last year
Yeah.
and stuff. It allows you more comfort a little bit, right? You can manage the situation.
Yeah,
But
that's
right now
true.
you cannot actually. Some people are even earning less. Some people have had salary cuts. People have
Yes.
had salary cuts,
Mhm.
and then they have to deal with increased price, increased rents, increased price of foodstuff,
Mhm.
increased fuel prices, increased everything. And in Nigeria, we know that once prices of something goes up, like they rarely ever come down.
Yes, exactly. You understand? See, um, the thing is, right? There's slow economic growth, right? And then there's rising inflation as well. And then coupled with the fact that there's rise of unemployment in the country as well. You get? So at the moment, I will say we're almost at stagflation, but not necessarily, because I won't say the economy is really slow per se, right? On the poor is really hard, but on the middle class is not that hard. You understand?
On the middle class is hard though.
It's not that hard. That's what I'm saying. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. When look at it, the middle class can afford to survive, and with better decisions, with good decisions, they can even thrive. You understand? But not the poor.
Essentially, we should become like Americans before we can survive.
Let's not go into that topic. Hey God, see,
That's not an ideal.
see, that's not an
It's not
ideal comparison. That's not an ideal comparison. That's not even
it's
what
an
you
ideal
want to
it's
go
an
to.
ideal comparison. But then in fact, it's like okay, for an average American to survive, you actually have to do some serious economic planning, like how
Mm-hmm.
a president
Exactly.
for a country.
Uh-huh.
But then this is something we are not used to,
And the
right?
funny thing, and the
I
thing is
mean,
that if you look at it, right, there's certain things that have been introduced into the government, into the economy right now. For example, now credit, right? Credit, credit cards into the Nigerian economy. All these banks, fintech companies that are coming, that are offering loans, right? I said something on my WhatsApp status today that I really have to talk about, or even write about. What is it called? People borrowing money, right? Whether it's you desperately need it, or it's because you just want to keep up with peer pressure, and the trends on social media, right? People are
mhm.
compelled to now borrow, right? In
Our
an
pressure,
in an economy in an economy that is not promising you that the moment, like, even if you have a good credit score, it doesn't mean that you're going to succeed in this country, right?
yeah,
And then you keep
very
and you keep hurting your credit score. You keep hurting your credit score. One, you're hindering the fact that you're going to even travel. If you get a scholarship, how do you think you're going to get out of this country without repaying your debt?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you get a scholarship, bro, forget it. You're not going to get anywhere near going out of the country without paying your debt.
Yes.
People don't get people don't get the implications or the consequences of doing what they do. You understand, right? So these things are being introduced. You're trying to say, okay, fine, let's be like what's it called? The countries abroad. Look, the countries abroad, the poor people in America they know their rights. One, you understand, they know where to go and get the education they want to get, they need to get. You understand, when it comes to financial education, how to plan themselves. In this country, do we do that? How readily are information available to the poor?
I mean, even the abroad that you mentioned, Seth,
Mm-hmm.
like as if the information is readily available.
Mm-mm.
It's
It's not
just
readily
the people
available,
who are
but they take
aware
responsibility.
enough. The
It's
people who are aware enough
mm-hmm.
make the conscious efforts to either learn or teach themselves.
Exactly, and that's a high percentage, by the way. If you know, if you go there, go in US, right? That's a high percentage of them, right?
Not
In
really.
Nigeria,
Some people are essentially living like their life like a Ponzi scheme, like
mm-hmm.
rob Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly.
You know, some people make use of like different credit cards,
Yes.
agents. Okay,
Yes.
let's say you have Visa, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Mastercard. Then let's say when Visa bill comes, you pay with Mastercard. And when next Mastercard bills come, you now probably come and pay with Visa or some other this thing. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle that you can never actually get out of.
Mm-hmm.
This is
And
exactly what I do not want to happen to Nigerians,
exactly,
right?
and it's happening. It's happening.
We don't want to rely on credit. We don't want to have to rely on credit because the way this country is going, we're going to have to rely on credit
Yes.
because that's what, like you said, fintech companies have been introducing these things and stuff, and truly, it's been. And mind you, interest rates are going to be high.
Yes.
Interest rates right now are high because they're actually trying to discourage borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more, you're discouraging borrowing at the higher level, but then you still have people bringing in as much platforms for you to borrow
Borrow.
money
Yes.
and stuff. So you're hurting yourself in the end. You're
For
hurting your
for
citizens in
example,
the end.
for example, now there are people that you see is counterintuitive, as we talked earlier. Again, the same thing. The counterintuitiveness is still it's still portraying itself here in this same system, financial
Exactly.
system. You understand? There are some
But that,
people.
that, that seems to be a trend with this current government.
Yes, for example, now in Nigeria now, for example, yeah, a lot of people will have money points or cash, where Kuda, other what's it called, other fintech companies, and guess what? All of them offer loans, right? After some months, they offer loans, and guess what? Somebody will say, "I have loan, I have money here, so I'll send the money. I'll send the money to that place to pay my loan, so that I can take another loan." And then I'll also take another loan from this one. The thing is that they are not going to come and catch me. See, the consequences of this bar will get people in financial problem, legal wahala, and the government is not doing anything about it. And to be honest, they're not going to do anything about it. You get? As I said, middle class, as you said, is gradually being erased. But what as I said the other day, right? If you remember our chat when I said the fact that they are not necessarily being erased, right? Some of majority of the middle class people are now being moved to poor. Some of the middle class that are really, really aware of certain things that are happening are going to move to the upper middle class. You understand? Or
Well,
even to
that's actually true.
or even to the rich level. You understand,
Yeah,
ba?
to the yes.
You get, ba? And the funny thing is that if that happens, the economy in the country will actually work well. You get?
Hmm.
It will
That
sound
is an argument for another day.
it's going to
Because I,
sound
I,
good
I, I, I have some things to say about what you just said.
because see, I can defend myself. I cannot defend myself at the same time. You get, but because you can talk about, say, okay, fine, the poor, right? The based on numbers, it will look good, but based on per capita, it will not look good.
Yes.
You get? Based on numbers, it will look good. Based on per capita, it will not. So based on ranking, how people the world see us and every single thing, everything will be shined upon. Cameras will be shined upon the major cities that are in Nigeria. Every single thing, they will be looking good. But go down to grassroots where the majority are, is going to be hell. It's going to be like Lagos. You get? That's how it's
Wow.
going to be.
You just had to bring me back into this.
Yes, because that's how the economy is going. As I said, the some of the middle class will get into the upper middle class, and then we already have upper middle class already. You get? The middle class is being erased. You get? And then people that are not really aware of certain things are going to become poor at the end of the day. All this I just talked about, right? They are for other episodes. You understand? Mhm.
Yeah, so the last thing that we are going to discuss, like briefly, I think, is CBN, right? We know of the removal of Godwin Emefiele. I think everybody welcomes that.
Yeah, very
His
well.
removal should be pressed. Not just the suspension. He was also arrested
Mhm.
and charged with embezzlement and a lot of things.
Yeah.
And there was an accusation that was made by columnist in one of the newspapers. He said that Godwin Emefiele made economic policies for Nigeria rather than making monetary policies.
Mhm. Very interesting.
So this brings us, we discussed about central bank last season, and it brings us back to what we are talking about. We talked about the economic machine also,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about how the central bank is. We talked about remember in economic machine we discussed the central government.
Yes.
We talked about how it is. We have the government of the nation, that's the federal government, and then we also have the central bank constituting that central government.
Mm-hmm.
So now the role of the federal government, for example, now, like we said, is to make economic policies, among other things,
Yes.
while the central bank should make monetary policies that will enhance the economy, right?
Yes.
But then it didn't seem like that was what was happening under Emefiele,
Mm.
truly.
Yeah.
I feel like that accusation was spot on.
Yes.
Some point it felt like, is there no Minister of Finance? Is there no Minister of Commerce and whatnot? Why would this decision be made by the central bank governor?
You remember we even said it. I think in one of our episodes we were saying that Emefiele was actually doing things that he was not supposed to do. That is
Mm,
outside his job description.
jurisdiction, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. So these are part of the problems, and we don't know why and how he was allowed to do that. But then we also discussed when we talked about central bank last season that the central bank, at least its governing person, should be independent. The central bank in general should be independent.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yes.
like just like what we said about INEC in the
Yeah.
INEC episode.
Yes.
We said that healthcare heads should be independent, should be free from the what's it called influences of the federal government. For example, all you have to do is like okay, make policies and make sure that okay, they try to push these policies to the federal government, make sure they follow them. But then last, we all know that the federal government in Nigeria has the power to remove a central bank governor,
Mm-hmm.
which yeah. Remember back in the day of Sanusi Lamido.
Yes.
Remember what happened? It was still him trying to push some policies to the federal government that had him kicked out in the first place. You understand? And this independence that we're talking about now, it brings us to Emefiele's successor, Yemi Cardozo.
Mm-hmm.
Yemi Cardozo is a remarkable guy.
Yeah.
If you look at his track record, he's legit the best person to be central bank governor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
However, Yemi Cardozo has serious ties with Tinubu.
Yes.
he even had an appointment with Tinubu in 1999 when he became the governor of Lagos State. He had an appointment in
You
Lagos,
see,
you know.
that's one of the appointments I was talking about, right? That um he's worked with them before and he's bringing them back again. And guess what?
Yes.
They were positioned at the right time. He positioned them before he even became the president.
Did you know that Yemi Cardozo was one of the people that Tinubu forwarded to Buhari
Yes.
as possible running mates
Yes.
in 2015?
Yes.
It was Yemi Osinbajo, Cardozo, and one other person. They were taken.
Yes.
It could have been it could have been that it would have been Buhari and Cardozo that could have been ruling Nigeria from 2015 to 2023.
Yes.
But I think eventually, it might have still been Tinubu that might have pulled the trigger on it and said, okay, no, Cardozo should not be vice president. Let it be Osinbajo instead. Right?
Yeah.
So that actually frees him up for when he will be valuable again to Tinubu.
Yeah.
Which is right that Tinubu is president. Obviously, Tinubu cannot go and take as much as he did a Muslim ticket, he cannot do Southwest tickets, right?
Yes.
So he cannot like take a fellow Lagosian to be his right.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, I know where to best use you, and then this is it, central bank governor.
I actually like the appointment. I like the appointment.
Yeah, I like the appointment
appointment
too.
is good,
It makes a lot of sense.
but you know,
It is worrying.
but you know,
It is actually worrying
yes.
when you look at the tie he has with Tinubu.
Yes.
Very, very worrying.
But then
So you don't even know
further
what to actually expect
going further though,
from him.
going further beyond the appointment, what do you think Cardozo so far? Do you think he's done so well? Because I still think it's Tinubu that is running CBN. That's my head. That's how I'm seeing it.
I think it's too early to call, to be honest. Let's wait till I think the turn of the year. Let us see what's going to happen.
I think it's even going to be beyond that, but let's see after the first.
I guess, yeah.
So people of God, you've listened so far. Should we title this as a therapy session? Or
yeah, this is not a session. Well, maybe it's a therapy session for you, I guess.
Maybe it's a therapy session for you too as well. But anyway, we're excited to be back. We're really excited to be back. So quick thing, right? Guys, we need you to send in your questions. We need you to let us give us feedback on this episode, right? If you've listened to this point. And yes, what do you think we should do to KB? Because he's not over the yacht thing. The fact that he now knows that it's over $17 billion. I've been naira. Hey.
I am not fixated on the yacht, please. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, denial. You're in denial. Continue being in denial.
Anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode and see you around.
See ya.
Bye.